Hello, my name is Danielle. I'm from Knox, Indiana. I grew up in Knox my whole life, went to Knox Elementary School, Knox Middle School, and Knox High School. I'm also a teen mom. I got pregnant my freshman year of high school. I was 15 years old, and I was with my son's father for 2 years before I got before I got pregnant. And in high school years, that's forever, and you think it's gonna last an eternity. But it didn't quite work that way for me. When I got pregnant, of course, my son's father got very, I don't want to say he got scared, but more or less he got pretty scared. And even though he had a good heart, he left 2 weeks after I found out I was pregnant. Of course, we went to school, so I constantly saw him. So it wasn't like he actually left. He just wasn't with me any longer. And we didn't really communicate until a month before my son was due. And being a teenager, being that young, having a baby on the way, it's one of the most scariest situations that you can be in, and very overwhelming and very emotional. When I found out I was pregnant, my mother, bless her heart, almost ran over me with a truck, but I think that was her way of trying to tell me, I care, I'm just terrified, which of course I was too, so it didn't really help, but I'm still here. I can still talk about it, so we're okay. My mom, she actually found a place for me that had just opened. I got pregnant in 2012, so it's quite some time ago. And it was called Bella Vita. And Bella Vita turned out to be one of the best places that could have happened to me. Of course, before I got pregnant, I was a straight A student. I was an honor roll. I was in National Junior Honor Society. I was also in Students Against Destructive Decisions, so sad, which is kind of ironic at the time, I guess. But Bella Vita was one of those places that I could go to and I could speak to somebody to just vent to, who wouldn't judge me, who it was like being in Vegas. What I talked to in that room about stayed in that room. And it was a very comforting experience. It not only helped me cope with my situation because, being a teenager, I threw a phone or two, broke a phone, just because I was so emotional and so upset and I didn't know what I was going to do. I mean, I lost somebody I thought I was going to be with for the rest of my life, which, of course, now, not so much. But being in that program, it taught me a lot. It taught me how to open up about myself and how to see a situation, how to tackle that situation, and how to better myself from that situation. I had a wonderful counselor at the time who's no longer there. Her name was Judy, and she took a special interest in me from the first visit that I went to. She decided to take it upon herself to be my counselor and to help me through, and it made me want to go to Bella Vita even more, knowing that I had somebody there that wasn't going to judge me and was just there to genuinely help and help me cope with the situation I was in. Now, besides just the wonderful people that were there, they had this thing called baby bucks, which I'm sure that they still do have. And that thing is an absolute lightsaver. Um, I don't mean like the lightsaber in Star Wars, but I mean an actual lifesaver. Of course, when I was my age, I was 15, so I couldn't really get a job, and if I could, it was going to be minimum wage, and then I had to deal with maternity leave. And of course, maternity leave doesn't really exist when you're our age. In a lot of places, like my work now, you have to be there for a year. Well, you're pregnant. You're not going to be there for a year because you're going to be having a baby within 9 months of being there. And a lot of places don't want to take that responsibility per se. So a lot of the worry came to, what am I going to do? How am I going to get clothes for this baby? How am I going to have a crib? How am I going to have diapers? What am I going to do for formula? How do I breastfeed? What am I going to do? And it was just, I came from a very poor family. So we were already struggling. And then even more so now that I was bringing a baby into my household. It was a very scary situation, and the program Baby Bucks, it really made an impact on me. and just how I was able to provide for my child. With baby books, from what I remember, is you go to your classes, you do your counseling, and you get baby books. I don't remember how much you would get, but say you got 20 baby books, you got a crib. A crib. And cribs, you go to Walmart, even the cheapest cribs are well over $100. And then you got to buy your mattress. You got to buy your fittings for it. I mean, bed right here. You got to get the pillow. You got to get the blankets. And then you also got to worry about your diapers. You got to worry about the bouncers. I never even knew what a bouncer was until somebody told me that's something that'll save your life when the baby is crying and you really need to just sit down for a minute. It'll put them to sleep. It's the best thing I ever found. And they also had that available. A lot of the items that were at Bella Vita, they were donated from the public. And those donations are what helped me get what I needed for my child. So the program is really a great thing to be in. A lot of girls, they feel like they can do it on their own. You know, you may be able to, but you're still going to need that support. You're going to need somebody who's going to not judge you because you're already faced with it, whether it be relatives, friends, or just strangers who are just negative. And it's heartbreaking that we live in a society where people are just constantly, you can't do anything right. But at Bella Vita, there was somebody there who genuinely cared and wanted to see you do good. So that's what I really liked about Bella Vita. From there, being able to get a jump start on what I could do, I had my son at, I believe I was 42 weeks pregnant, so I was a little overdue. But my son had a crib to lay in. He had a bouncer. He had a bassinet, which is what I also need for my second child, which I am currently pregnant with right now. It was a really great program, and being able to build up my confidence from there, put people's opinions that really didn't pertain to me or have any effect on me, being able to put that to the side and out of mind, helped me grow. And going from a small town, and of course, a small town like Knox, it's a poor town. There's not a lot of job opportunities, a lot of minimum wage. I mean, you could go to Walmart, a little bit above minimum wage, or you could go work in a factory. And I'm sure there's a couple other jobs, but a lot of it's just the factory jobs and the minimum wage jobs. So it's really hard to do when you're trying to help your parents pay for bills. I have a disabled mother and a father who had a stroke. So he was also 70 years old when I got pregnant with my son. So he was also on not welfare, but Social Security, and our budgets were very tight. So being able to gain what I did from Bella Vita, I was able to get a job. Um, of course, I started out at Pizza Hut, which was minimum wage, but it was a job and it brought money and it was able to put diapers on my child, formula that I needed, food for me, some extra money to help with bills around my house. And from there, I started to learn how to work on vehicles. Believe it or not, yes, I know how to swap out your transmission and work on your engine. I had a couple friends who actually taught me how to do it. Of course, I'm not certified, but I do know what I'm doing. I was actually given a very good opportunity that jump-started my life. I started working at Advanced Auto right there in Knox. Started working there, then eventually I started also working at the one in Plymouth, and then I went to Florida, where I was offered to manage an Advanced Auto down there, which paid a little bit more money and a lot more job opportunities in that area than what offered in my area. Moving was a really big decision. It was scary. I wasn't going to have my parents, and I was afraid that I was going to do it on my own. But luckily, I had a really good friend who just so happened to live 2 minutes away from my soon to be next job. And then my best friend turned out to be my best supporter and father of my second child to be. So it worked out really good. And when I moved, I noticed that it was like getting a fresh new start. Of course, I had all this confidence. I didn't worry about what people thought. Of course, it was a struggle to try to move, just purely based on my child, bringing him here, his father's situation. His father had come back into his life, and he was a pretty good father. He still is. But one of the biggest things is when you're that age, you let your emotions overrun. And sometimes things are said, maybe not just on your end, but both ends, that create a very sad situation to where communication's not the best. Your child gets put in the way, and emotions are even tugged out even more. But from what I learned is that you need to be respectful. You need to care about that other person, not in a romantic way, but genuinely care that, hey, this is the person who is a parent of your child, that is a part of their life, that is half of them, half of you, and they're going to love them, which my son absolutely loves his dad. He is all daddy. Daddy and daddy's girlfriend, or fiance now, Sydney, which is another thing you're going to have to overcome is when somebody else comes into the picture. But I'm very thankful for her. She's a very wonderful girl to talk to and take care of my child when he's with his dad. So you got to overcome those situations that put a damper on life itself, but everything comes with some difficulties, and it's just how you handle them that make it better. Now, when I moved, I was actually contacted by Ford Motor Company's corporate office here in Florida. They're run by a company called Percepta, who works for Ford Motor Company, and they contacted me directly to be a parts specialist for their brand new website that was launching. It was for the new Ford Parts website, and it's where you would be a chat agent. And it was me and 6 other people, so a total of 7 that would run this site for the entire North America. Pretty big responsibility. Pretty interesting that a girl who started out as a teen mom with every fear in the book, almost every situation that you could incur, and now I'm doing this, and I've got insurance, I've got enough money to where I can pay rent, I can take care of myself, I can go out and do things and afford nice things for my child, get him Christmas presents. It's worth it. The struggles that we have because we choose to be a teen mom or a father is worth it. It may not seem like the best situation that you're in right now, but in the end, it's the resources that you have, how you utilize them, and how you look at your life. And also how you work with the people around you as your ex, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, or even the ones that come into your life because of this situation. Me personally, I couldn't be more thankful for my current boyfriend, who I've been with for almost 2 years, who's been my best friend since before me and my son's father were together. And now I'm having my second child with him, and everything just seemed to fit into place. So even though you're worried about your current situation, things do get better. It's just now that doesn't seem that great. There's still a whole lifetime ahead of you, and I'm sure you hear that all the time, but taken from somebody who has been there, who has been at their lowest, has wondered, what am I going to do next? Why am I here? Why is this happening to me? Why me in general? Why did I get chose to be born here? Why did I get chose to have this happen to me? I mean, life throws everything at you that it can, and it's not going to stop. It's just up to you to tell life, okay, you can throw this at me, but don't be afraid that when I come back, I'm going to make that situation 1,000 times better. So use your resources. Use Bella Vita. Bella Vita is the best resource that you're going to have available to you. It's one of the only resources besides WIC in our county or in Knox in general, that is generally for the mothers, teaches you the growth of your baby, what you're going to need to know to be able to, feed your baby, how to breastfeed, how to even get you things that you're going to need for this baby. It's a really great program. So I want to encourage you to, do what you need to do. Listen to the people around you. They're there to help you. And, like I said, life's going to seem really hard, but at the end of the day, you're going to have a baby that's going to love you and also drive you crazy at the same time, but it's going to be worth it. So congratulations on your pregnancy, and I wish you all the luck. Like I said, don't hesitate to ask anybody questions or ask for help. My name is Danielle again. Good luck with everything.